It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege to interview the South Carolina Gamecocks Director of Women's Basketball Operations, Cynthia Jordan. How are you doing today?
Brandon, I'm doing great. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. Can you talk about how you knew that you wanted to work in college athletics?
I actually didn't know that I wanted to work in college athletics. I got into it by happenstance, really, just kind of being in the right place at the right time. After college, I went overseas and played and came back for a summer just to work out in Philly, and I was working for Coaches Foundation in the grad assistant position open towards the end of the summer. So I decided to go back to grad school in 2007. And that happened to be the last year that she was at Temple. But during that experience, we had a coach leave in the middle of the season. And we didn't have big of a staff that we have at South Carolina. So I was involved in a lot of things, and I just kind of fell in love with it, to be honest with you. And then Coach came to South Carolina, and she gave me an opportunity to come as the video coordinator. And now it's been 13 years later. So,
what was your playing career like overseas professionally?
It was adventurous. I played in Turkey, in the backwoods of Turkey somewhere. But I was only there a short period of time because they weren't paying. So I went back home for about 3 weeks, and I went to Switzerland, where I absolutely loved it. Besides the weather, it was too cold for me, but had a great experience, and I was all set to go back. Had that grad assistant position not become available.
What was your playing time in college at Temple?
Well, I started off a hard-headed freshman. So my first year, I really did not play. I practiced every day and got fussed out. But I went from pretty much no minutes to starting my last 2 years and being a captain.
What was it like to become the grad assistant for your alma mater, Temple?
It was special, to be able to go back in a different role in a place that's near and dear to me. And, that's where a lot of growth took place for me from 18 to 22. So just being able to go back and give back and help the program sustain what we had built, that was gratifying.
What are some of the things that you did as a grad assistant with Temple?
My main responsibility was that of what a video coordinator does, and film exchange, and getting the scout tapes. So back in the day, we were using VCRs, and then we transitioned to DVDs. So I was, during that time, I don't want to date myself, but it was a lot of live hours. So just logging the games and getting them ready for the coaches so that they could prepare the scouts.
What was it like to go from Temple to now South Carolina?
The resource is probably the biggest thing. So we're able to do a lot more here at South Carolina, but in terms of a standard, coach's standard hasn't changed. We've always done things at a high level, and we've always created a great experience for our student athletes. So that part hasn't changed. We still did it at a high level at Temple, even though we didn't have all the resources that we have at South Carolina. But then just the opportunities and the places that we've been afforded to go to, the Virgin Islands, and we're going to the Bahamas, St. Thomas, charter flights, So it's a drastic difference from bus rides to commercial flights.
Can you talk about, I saw that you are the team travel, and can you talk about what it's like to be the coordinator for the team travel?
Well, I mean, it's really easy to with you. It's really easy because we do have the resources. So we can get in and get out. So it allows our student athletes not to miss a lot of classes because we travel the night before for a game, and then after the game, we're able to get back on the plane and get right back. So really don't miss a whole lot of time away from Columbia outside of 4 tournaments.
Of course, as the team travel coordinator, whenever you play like Georgia or Florida, do you have to take a plane or could you take a bus?
When we go to Georgia, we would drive to Athens. It's probably about 2.5 hours on the bus. So we'll drive there. With Florida, we typically will fly. There have been times where we had to bus to make some other things work in our budget that we had for that particular year. But for the most part, we've flown to Florida.
What are some of the roles as the director of operations?
You have the budget, manage the budget, travel, equipment, ordering equipment, issuing equipment, ordering just the needs of the program, whether it's, basketballs, it could be cones, food, making sure we have food, travel bags. And then I do academics. A part of academics, we have split up in our office. One of our coaches, he's over academics as a whole, and then we have like academic coaches. So I serve as one of those on the staff as well, just to have another set of eyes and communication with our student athletes, along with our academic advisors, just to make sure that they're staying on track to graduate.
What is a typical game day like as the director of women's basketball operations?
Well, the game days, they're pretty easy, to be honest, because all the work is done in advance. So really just we have a shoot around. Well, let me back up. Our visiting team typically will shoot around before us. So just making sure that we have managers in place to meet them. If they have classes, then I'll meet them to provide them access to the gym to do their 60 to 90 minute shoot around. Then we'll come in and shoot around for 60 minutes and have pregame after that. So just making sure that we have our food for our pregame meal. And then following that, we bring in our massage therapist that does some treatment along with our athletic trainer. So just make sure that they have what they need. And then it's pretty much game time from there.
What is the preparation on the team travel side, preparing to go to different games that are not at home?
So like once we finalize our non-conference schedule, which will be done here shortly. So over the summer, what I'll do is I'll go ahead, once we get all the game contracts signed, I will then secure hotels and line up, our travel arrangements. So half of the travel will be done because we normally don't get our conference schedule until the fall, like September or early October. So then it's only those 8 additional games that I have to take care of.
What is something that you learned now that you didn't know before becoming a director of operations?
Probably the biggest thing is the importance of a good bus driver. So just making sure that you have a driver that understands like what you all need. Because really, if the bus driver is solid and they know how to get you from point A to point B, C and D, that puts everybody else at ease. We've been in situations where our bus driver didn't know like how to get to the gym or get to the restaurant. So, and ironically, it happened on the very first trip. And I was like, oh man, I'm not going to make it. But from that experience, I learned to, if it's a new driver, to once we get to the hotel, to just go on a dry run to all the places that we need to go to that night, so that on the next day it's smooth. But then also when we use our local bus company, I just request our same driver. So he's been driving us for 10 years.
What is something that you learned about as the director of operations that you didn't know before?
I mean, really, if you look at the position as a whole, it's different from program to program. The only thing that's the same is the job title, but every program's needs are different. So, the things that I do here at another program, some of those operations, people may not. So it's all predicated on the head coach and what they're comfortable with and how they really would like to utilize their operations.
What advice would you give somebody looking to get into college athletics on the non-coaching side?
Just as an undergrad, I would say just be involved. Just be involved. If you're a student, volunteer, become a manager, because really you got to get experience at the ground level to really understand it, because it's not a 9 to 5, it's not a Monday to Friday job. So you really have to be passionate about sports, because it's going to be a lot of long hours to really know if you really want to do it. But it can be a great career. You meet a lot of people. I would just say network. The network is important. But at the same time, just knowing people, it might get you in the door, but you got to have some substance behind it to be able to stay. And the other thing is be a star in what your role is. If you're operations, then do that to the best of your ability, and don't try to do other roles because your job is gonna suffer a little bit.
That's great advice. Where can my listeners find your course, the women's basketball program, at on social media along with you?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Where can my listeners find the women's basketball program at on social media along with you?
Oh, okay. Our team account on Twitter is Gamecocks WBB. Let me make sure I'm y'all right. It's no S, so it's Gamecock WBB Twitter. And my Twitter account, which I'm really not that active, but it's C_E_Jordan. And Instagram, our team account is all one word, Gamecock WBB. So they're the same. And my Twitter is my Instagram is CJ the Street Dog is my Instagram. But I'm not really a big social media person. I just like to get stuff done. I don't really advertise what I'm doing, really. So my Twitter feed or my Instagram is really a lot of retweets. I make cameos every blue moon. So
thank you again, Sydney, for your interview, and best of luck in your future as the Director of Women's Basketball Operations for South Carolina Gamecocks.
Well, thank you, Brandon, for having me. I wish you the best with your sports talk show. How long have you been doing it?
I've been doing it for a year now.
Oh, okay. Awesome. Awesome. Well, I appreciate you having me. And I wish you the best.
Thank you. You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Facebook at Brandon Sports Talk, Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Sydney, for your interview, and best of luck.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.